these types of fires before, and with this many firefighters and this many pieces of equipment, usually a fire like this would be contained or starting to be contained, within an hour or so. But I'm gonna say this has been burning at least for an hour. It's been, like I said, we got dispatched to come out here about 6:30. It's 7:47 now, so you're looking at hour and 15 minutes, almost 2 hours, or getting on, almost an hour and 15 minutes at this point. So it just doesn't seem to me that the water is having any impact. Does it seem like that to you?
No, not really. And we can see the water being poured on that fire now from one of the overhead ladder trucks, a big stream of water, but it doesn't appear to be having that much of an effect. That's a continuous stream of water. It's been like that, Tom.
Yeah, it's been like that, Tom, now for most of the morning, off and on intermittently when they were hooking up the supply line. I'm going to walk down here to the other side of the warehouse, the front of the warehouse. There's another ladder truck. I'm just going to see if it is, in fact, pumping water out here while Jesus continues to show you those dramatic video of the flames and the smoke here. Let me go down to the other side. It looks like there's a total of 3 warehouses here on the site. Would be the northernmost warehouse on the footprint of the building that's burning. Okay, so the second ladder truck, I gotta tell you, it is obscured by smoke. I can't even see the ladder sticking up into the, up over the building. I know it's there because I walked down here about 30 minutes ago when I looked over. I could see a second ladder truck, but now that smoke is so thick, it's obscured. It's obscured even the fire apparatus. Right. There's a third ladder truck that hasn't started putting water on yet. It's over here at the front.
We see that,
but it looks so, so maybe it's just one line of water going into it right now. It's just very difficult to tell.
Well, it almost looks as
if that smoke is.
It almost looks like there's a truck on the other side of the warehouse from you that's pouring water in your direction, or at least crossways to where you are. We can see 2 lines of water, it seems, so they're pouring a fair amount of water on this, trying to get this fire out, but it doesn't appear to be having much of an effect. Certainly not on the flames that we see in the foreground here.
Yeah, I see a little bit of white smoke starting now to pour out from the heart of this fire. That's where the majority of the water that we can see going onto this flame is coming from. And I do see, I see that second line of water, Tom, now. I see it coming through the back. Once this smoke cloud starts to clear a little bit, you can see another jet of water. So it would basically be from the north and the south. There are 2 lines of water from ladder trucks being pumped onto this. And again, they have this third one here, Tower 21. We're assuming it's going to start attacking this fire as well. But boy, this has really been one of the bigger ones we've seen in quite some time.
It is. And we have no idea what's burning so far, so that's what we're trying to figure out this morning. Firefighters may give us a better indication as they even get into the building or get closer into the building.
It's hard to tell, Tom, from my perspective, and maybe you've got a better shot from up on the tower cam, but it looks as if the flames are shooting from the top of the building as opposed to the back of the building, which would be, a definite change from what we've seen from when we first got out here, and maybe explaining why it's so difficult for firefighters to fight this fire, because they haven't been able to establish water lines inside. Can you tell if that's coming from shooting from the roof or not? It's just a little difficult. We're a little far away to make that call.
Have Jesus pull back, would you, your photographer, and we'll get a better idea. I'm not sure if you're looking at the exact same picture we are.
Let me just pull back on this just a shade, and let me see if you can tell. See what I'm talking about over here?
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Now it appears as though
it almost looks as if like there's flames coming from the roof line now rather than the back of it.
You're absolutely right. It looks like
you see that right there. You
burning
see
from inside the building. It may be something on the other side of the building that is now erupted in flames, or the better guess is that it's now the inside of the building, and that's where the smoke is pouring from, just out of the roof. It's hard to tell, Jeff, at this point, but it's just a huge, huge fire, and it doesn't appear as though they're getting any closer to putting it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've zoomed in now to the roof line where we were talking about, and this was not like that 15 minutes ago when we first got here. That is just really, really, really intense. See how intense that is now, Tom?
Right. Oh, yeah. No, the flames are growing. They're not being suppressed. They're growing.
They really are growing. Yeah, it's not getting any weaker, and I'll go on and tell you too that the fire in the back of the building is showing no signs of getting weaker. So this is I don't know if it's growing. Like I said before, when we first got to me, the line of smoke coming from the crown or the roof line of the building was inching towards us, and that is still happening. So, and I speculated that it's possible that it was burning on the inside. Well, now I think that is absolutely the case. Not just burning on the inside, but now coming through the top of the roof from inside the facility to the top there. Boy, it just it's almost as if it has erupted in flames, Tom, over the last 2 minutes.
You're absolutely right, Jeff. It looks as though it's growing. It's not getting any smaller. It's just getting much, much larger as whatever's burning inside and around that warehouse is now going up in flames.
And these thick clouds of smoke, very troubling for firefighters. It makes them really wonder what's going on in there. And again, they're taking a very cautious approach to this thing. They have not sent, as far as I can tell, a single person inside that warehouse. Standing back now is what they're doing, and just treating it from ladder trucks. No one, as far as I can tell, has made entry into this building. I would imagine they won't until they know what they're dealing with. And sometimes we've seen these very large warehouse fires where they just can't do anything other than contain the other buildings from burning. And maybe that's what they're doing now. Boy, I'm surprised at how intense those flames have gotten, just as we've been speaking about it over the last couple of minutes, Tom. That's a lot of fire coming out of that thing right now. No, do you? No, I don't either. No, we're still not sure what's burning in there, Tom. But it seems like it's coming through the roof now of the warehouse.
I'm scared, man.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah. We got to.
That shit blows.
Yeah. Over that. Okay. All right. So we got a firefighter basically just saying, look, we're in a pretty good shape here, but if there is any explosion or anything like that, they would like us to move back a little bit more. But he said right now we're okay. So you can hear. It sounds like pounding. I'd hesitate to call it explosion. You hear that? Is that the roof collapsing, Jesus? We think the roof is collapsing on part of it. We hear sort of like what would amount to like banging on a piece of metal, and it's collapsing in on itself. And we do see now even more firefighters have made it out here. It looks like those would be the guys who might make entry into something like this, but they are not gearing up to do that just yet. They're ready to go in if they had to, but I don't think that they're going to make entry into this building anytime soon, Tom. So we're going to wrap up our online coverage.
We are, Jeff. We're going to wrap it up, and we'll come back to you.
We will be back on the air in just a couple of minutes, and then of course we'll be back online in just a second. Don't go anywhere. Channel 13's got you covered on this warehouse fire on Alameda near the Beltway.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Cook. That warehouse fire in southeast Houston has now gone to 4 alarms, and Jeff Ealing live on the scene with the latest. Jeff?
Good morning, Tom. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't go to a 5th alarm. This warehouse fire has been burning for well over an hour. It seems that the flames are getting more and more intense, not less intense as firefighters put water on it. There are at least 3 tower trucks here. 2 of those 3 are applying water to this fire. We do know that it appeared that the fire was concentrated on the back of a large warehouse here at 13131 Alameda Road. But since we have been here, that fire seems to be slowly consuming that building from the backwards forward. We've heard what sounds like parts of the roofs starting to collapse. Firefighters have not gone inside the building yet, still treating this fire from the sides using ladder trucks. Firefighters still say they don't know exactly what is burning. Very troubling when you see these flames and all this intense black smoke that you could probably see from miles and miles away, depending on where you are in the city of Houston. And within the last half hour, we've seen even more intense flames shooting up from this warehouse fire. Reporting live, Jeff Ealing, 13 Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, and we'll stay on top of that. Here's Catherine with traffic.
Exactly. We're on that. We'll certainly keep you updated as we get more information on that. We can actually even see that from our Houston TransStar cameras from the freeways as well, and really all around town at this point. Deadly accident working right now on 45, the Gulf Freeway northbound at Holland. Freeway is completely blocked off currently because of that wreck. You can exit at Holland as your best alternate route to get through that area onto the feeder road lanes. Then you'll be able to continue on once you rejoin the freeway. TransStar is scanning around for this accident here, but you can see the traffic is once again begin moving once you're past the Holland exit. Let's take you to the other side of town, give you a look at your drive into town as you come in on the west side, I-10 the Katy Freeway. Those lanes look clear. 45 north at West Road, also in the green for us so far this morning. And scanning through our drive times, for most of you, it is a light day thanks to the Memorial Day holiday. Only 12 minutes in from Cypress on 290. Travis.
Catherine, that massive warehouse fire on the south side is generating what we call a pyrocumulus cloud, and there's very little wind to blow it around. I can tell you, though, it's just south of Sims Bayou near Townwood Park and Peterson Elementary. Otherwise, we're in for a hot day today with highs in the 90s and getting hotter as the week goes on.
That's the power plant.
It was a spillover from this one.
Trying to open it. Ah. I used those two bangers. Oh man, that's nice. Can you guys hear me on IP? Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. Do you know what they're doing as far as the stream goes? There's a drone up.
The arson guys. The arson guys. Is that your drone?
Yeah,
The arson. Like a water drone?
water drone. Yeah.
Water drop. Would that be
Yeah.
great?
One drop.
Wow.
Come back, reload. Come back, reload.
Unless
Reload.
I'm assuming unless there's people over there that have
No, I think it's arson.
I know arson. I know arson has one. But it's usually the photographer.
Well, this stuff, you don't know what's burning. You know what I mean? You don't know what's
You hear
burning.
all the major explosions? Like the
Well,
explosions?
here's what we heard. We heard ka-klum, ka-klum, but that could have been the roof falling in. I mean, I heard popping,
Yeah.
right? And,
well,
and
the firefighter told us to back off because
Right.
he said there's explosions.
where were you when that happened?
We were right here. We
Oh,
were right here.
oh, okay. I see. There, water's coming back. Okay, yeah.
Been throwing water.
Look,
It just looks like
so I just
looks
went.
like a power line.
We just went back there and looked, And that second warehouse now looks like it's on fire. You
Like
know what I
it's
mean? Like
spreading.
it's spreading from one to the other. An aerial camera is what you need.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But are they going to call in sky? No.
I don't know. Geez, it doesn't look like the water's helping at all. All right, here we go. Yeah.
Last 45 minutes or so, and he's joining us live now. Do you think it spread to another building, Jeff? Is that the indication?
Tom, I think it might have. So the building that you're seeing here is one of 3 in a row, and that the building that was been on fire the whole time is the northernmost warehouse on this set of properties. But the warehouses are right next door to each other, and I just walked down so I could see down the line between these warehouses, and it appears to me that the fire is now emanating from the back of a second warehouse, the one that would be right beside it. But from our ground camera, it's very, very difficult to tell what's going on back there. But when I went back there and looked, the footprint, if you will, of that first warehouse, the fire does not line up completely with it anymore. It looks like fire has spread to what would be the back of that second warehouse, and that is where, when we were here earlier, it appeared to be that there was a fire truck there, a tower truck there, but that may have moved off because I couldn't see it at all from where we were. But again, you've got such thick black smoke here; it's hard to make out some of this stuff. But yeah, I think just from our perspective, that second warehouse may now be burning. Black smoke coming from that second warehouse. And Tom, I just want to point this out. We've been out here for a good part of an hour, and the flames are not dying down. The firefighters, they have a flow of water there, maybe not as much water as they need at this point, but boy, this has not stopped. I'm walking down as you continue to watch these flames. I'm walking down to the driveway, the entrance to what is the sign says is Textile Recycler Incorporated. So I have a clear view now of looking down these 2 warehouses, if you will, and it looks like the fire is coming now also from the back of that second warehouse. Flames shooting up just as high, the smoke just as dark, just as much activity going on now at what appears to me to be that second warehouse. I don't know if your TransStar camera, I don't know where it's located, but are you able to see anything from that, Tom?
No, too far away. All we see from the TransStar camera really is a plume of black smoke, and it's going way up into the air, creating a cloud of its own, as Travis said.
Yeah.
So that's our vantage point from here. On the left side of your screen, you see that huge plume of smoke going into the air.
And Tom, we're expecting to hear something from the firefighters here in a little bit. We know that there are incident commanders, obviously, on scene right now, and we had been told that we were going to get somebody to try to come over and get a handle on telling us what was happening, but they may not know themselves. And as I stand over here in front of this second warehouse, and again looking back towards the back of the warehouse, front of the warehouse obscuring my view, but it does appear to me that flames are shooting now from that back, what would be the back of that second warehouse. There is a third warehouse just south of there, and it seems that these warehouses may share a common wall, or if not, a very, very small walkway between all 3 of these warehouses, and it does look like that fire has spread to the back of that second warehouse, Tom.
All right, Jeff, as we continue to take a look at this fire this morning, we're hoping to hear from one of the assistant fire chiefs on the scene to get an idea of exactly what's burning at this warehouse. Whatever it is fueling some really, really intense flames this morning, and people all around the city are calling us and telling us about that black plume of smoke easily visible from miles away. So keep an eye on that, Jeff, and I know they moved that ladder truck out of the way now. It used to be right in front of your camera.
Yeah, so the ladder has been brought down. The truck is still there.
Okay.
So I don't know if they plan on just repositioning it and using it, or if they've just decided maybe that it would be best just to let this thing burn itself out. But boy, if that is the case, this is going to be burning for a long, long time. This is going to be a very long event for Houston firefighters. There does seem to be now a few more firefighters here on the scene, and and it looks like they've had, they've got pumper trucks their fire hoses stretched all across Alameda from one side of the road all the way across to the other to get a line of water established to the ladder truck that is out there on the left-hand side that has been almost non-stop pumping water onto this fire. But as you mentioned just a few moments ago, Tom, the curious thing, we haven't been told what's burning, and that may be because firefighters don't know what's burning. And again, we don't know if the sign is reflective of the business, but the sign says Textile Recyclers Incorporated, and right underneath it, it says that it recycles clothing, shoes, bags, and toys. But clearly this is probably something that's not one of those four things. And again, we do see these plastic barrels that are in our view of the camera just in front of where the flames are coming up. From what we can tell, they appear to be empty, and firefighters don't seem too concerned about them at this point. But you know, if they're barrels there, then maybe they're doing something more than recycling clothes. We just don't know. We literally have no information from firefighters at this point, is what's going on. But we do know that these flames are just getting more and more intense, and it does appear that, again, it's moved over to that second warehouse. I can tell you that the amount of smoke coming from the roof line of the warehouse that was on fire initially, it does appear that has lessened considerably, and we have heard quite as much popping and banging that we heard even 15-20 minutes ago coming from that primary warehouse that's on fire right now. So that might be a bit of good news as firefighters, you know, continue to do what they can to try to bring this thing under control. But as you mentioned, you know, you can see this plume of smoke for literally miles and miles away, and it looks to me like maybe a firefighter, like HPD's helicopter, is now landing in the middle of Alameda Road, and I wonder if maybe they took a firefighter up and got him around, because that helicopter was flying several loops around this fire, and I wonder if maybe they got a firefighter up in there to kind of go up and to try to get a better handle on exactly what's transpiring back behind these buildings. If I can see that fire, or whoever comes out of the helicopter, if they walk over this way, I'll try to grab them and ask. But it's quite, as you might imagine, landing a helicopter in Alameda, they have a large landing zones. It's quite a bit away from me at this point. But,
well, hang on for a second, Jeff. As you indicated before, there very light winds, the plume of smoke going straight up. That's probably a good thing this morning. So we're going to check with Travis and figure out where these winds are going to push the fire, if at all. Travis?
Yeah, not much, because the winds are fairly light. We're looking at the local airports nearby, everything reporting calm winds. Now, higher up in the atmosphere, the winds are stirring from the northeast, blowing that smoke plume eventually off to the southwest. And this is the view from our tower cam on Memorial Drive. And I can also see this on radar. And it looks to be at least 5,000 feet up in the sky, maybe as high as 7,500 feet above the ground. This is what we call a pyrocumulus cloud. There's actually a cloud being generated by all the heat that is rising into the atmosphere and interacting with some moisture a few thousand feet off the ground. I want to show you a time lapse over the past hour, and you can see this thing has just not budged very much. It's just been sitting there, continuing to put out that smoke as the fire rages on uncontrolled at this hour. And so there's that pyrocumulus cloud that a lot of folks are sending us pictures in, saying, I'm spotting this from miles away. What is that? Well, it's this warehouse fire. And here's a look again at the local airports. Almost every airport is reporting a calm wind. We're starting to see a slight stirring of the wind in Pearland and Pasadena coming in again from the northeast. So this little smoke plume is going to be blowing its way to the southwest. And here's what we're seeing on radar. It looks nearly stationary here. This is Alameda Road, and this is Junction Drive. The smoke plume is very near Peterson Elementary and HISD. And right over here is Townwood Park. And this is Sims Bayou. So this is just south of Sims Bayou. We are spotting this thing again on radar, and that smoke plume just not budging very much, drifting slightly off to the southwest. But what we're hitting right here is pretty high in the sky, and so at ground level it doesn't look like the smoke is making much progress into the surrounding neighborhoods, but of course it's a huge health concern, especially since we don't even yet know what is on fire at this hour. So we're going to keep our camera trained on this towering pyrocumulus cloud, and hopefully those firefighters can make some headway on this and put this thing out. Tom?
Take you live back to Jeff Ealing in just a second as we show the map here. This is Alameda, Genoa. This is just west of Highway 288. The closest small cross street is Junction Drive, but you get an idea from the map where it is. It's the southern part of the city. I hesitate to say South Houston because there is a separate city called South Houston. So anyway, it's southwest Houston, or the southern part of this city, as you look live once again at this this 4-alarm warehouse fire. And Jeff Ealing has been live on the scene. Jeff, did you get us any indication from firefighters what's burning and what kind of battle they're up against?
No. Well, it's a pretty severe battle, I can tell you that right now, Tom. No, they have not told us what's burning, but I do know that they have taken another fire truck and they have gone down between the two warehouses. There's one that's a different one. It's an office furniture warehouse. I just spoke with the owner of that warehouse. He says all he has is office furniture. He came out here to make sure his building's not on fire, and it looks as if the ladder truck might be putting water on his building to keep it from damaging itself. But there's another fire truck that's between the office furniture warehouse and then this textile warehouse, and they're establishing a water line. That is incredibly close where that truck is to where these flames are. And again, we did see HPD land its helicopter after we believe they took a firefighter up there to find out what was going on. But the ladder truck right now, the only one that I can see pumping water onto this fire, it looks to me that it has gone defensive in trying to keep the office furniture connection warehouse from catching on fire as well. I can't tell from where we're standing if that's exactly the case, but the water, the stream from that tower apparatus is landing directly on top of the roof of the office furniture warehouse, which is next door to the textile recycler warehouse, which is on fire. And the electricity pole is now burning for the textile recycling company. We did see a center point out here about 15-20 minutes ago. They cut the flow of electricity off to the building, but the power pole itself looks like it is going to topple because it's just being consumed by the flames of fire. Also burning several trees along the tree line, the fence line of these two warehouses. In fact, I just saw a huge plume of smoke and flames go up from one of the trees that had just gotten scorched. And now that ladder apparatus has changed the direction of its water from the warehouse, the office furniture warehouse, back to the flames themselves. But this is quite some battle that firefighters are engaged in right now. And again, from what we can tell back here, it does look like the back of that second warehouse is now burning. But it's very, very, very difficult to tell from the ground. I don't know if we've got Sky Eye en route. If we can get them, they could probably give us a better idea of exactly what's happening behind this building. But it does not appear to us, Tom, in the hour and a half to 2 hours or so that we've known this thing has been going on, that these flames have gone down at all. In fact, it seems that they've just gotten more and more intense.
Right. And white smoke is usually an indication of the fire is getting under control or at least diminishing. But at this point, all we see are those plumes of black smoke coming from there. Okay, we're going to continue to stream this on our website, but we're going to take a break here as we go back to our regular live television programming for a news update coming up in just a couple of minutes.
So this is the cut-in script right here.
Good morning, folks. I'm meteorologist Travis Herzog. A massive warehouse fire continues to develop on the south side of Houston, right off of 288 near Alameda Road and Junction Drive. And this is the cloud that we're seeing from our Houston tower cam, a pyrocumulus cloud that's towering at least 7,000 feet above the ground. The temperatures outside are approaching 80 degrees. We are in for some very hot weather for today. Our own Jeff Ealing is live at the site of that warehouse fire. He'll give you more in just a moment. But I do want to show you that we are seeing that smoke plume on radar on the south side of Houston today. Otherwise, we've got a 20% chance for rain with high temperatures working their way way into the mid-90s.
Angel, what's in the foam? What's in the foam? It looks like a foam out there.
AFFF.
What is that?
Just aqueous film.
When you coming to me? Two minutes. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Hey, Angel, what does the foam do that the water doesn't do?
What it does, it blankets. What it does, it smothers the fire from the oxygen. What it does, it puts a clear,
like a film
blanket over it.
Okay.
So what you want to do is
choke off the oxygen.
smother the fire.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Understood. You got the flow of water, foam going? Okay, cool. Okay, we're just going to stay on the visuals. Don't worry about. Yeah, you won't see me. We're just going to stay on the visuals, okay? Erica, it does appear that firefighters may be starting to get the upper hand on this fire. We can tell you that they've started to apply foam to this fire. And I will tell you this, we're about to get an update now from HFD. We may have to cut this a little bit short, but maybe we can get the camera over here just a second from now, and we can try to figure out exactly what we're going to learn from Houston firefighters. Hold on one second, Eric. If you have to go away, I understand. This fire's been burning now for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It appears that there may be two warehouses back there that are on fire right now. We're getting our camera set up over here to get the very latest information from Houston firefighters. If I can grab the microphone from you, Jesus, I'll go ahead and bring it in.
So what we have back here is around 6:30 this morning. We got a call from a report of a fire out here. First units were on scene in about 5 minutes, within 5 minutes, and they had a fully involved area of the warehouse that you see here behind me. It's several hundred thousand square feet, and it's a multi-use building. So they have some recycling material. They have some clothing areas, and in the back area, which is burning, they have some chemical processing equipment. So the issue is that it's very maze-like, and it's very hard to gain access into the seat of the fire. Firefighters have been working for about an hour and a half out here trying to contain the fire. We've made a stand at a certain area of the building, and we're going to try to confine the area to the back part of this building. We have about 150 firefighters out here working, about 35 units responding. The issue that we have out here in this area is certainly water supply. So our hydrants are very sparse. We have several hundred feet of hose that we have to bring into the working area, and access is very restricted and very limited in the back. As you can hear in the background, you can still hear some noise and some activity going on with the fire. It's still not contained, but we have people in place, and our hope is that we're going to be able to confine it to the area that it's already damaged. Nobody's been injured at this time. It's essentially a defensive fire, but we have crews out here working. We're going to bring additional crews in here to rotate and to keep the operation going. So we're going to be out here for a little bit. We're going to be out here for a little while. It's like I said, it's very cumbersome. Access is restricted. It's like a maze in there to try to gain access into the seat of the fire. So our firefighters are really working out here this morning. I'm very proud of the work that they've been doing and what they've been able to accomplish as far as confining the fire to the area that's already damaged.
Any word on what kind of chemicals we're talking about?
Yes. Yes, sir. So we have hazmat on scene as well. They are doing their research as far as what the chemicals are and what the hazards are. But again, right now our focus is to confine the fire and to limit the damage and to keep it from spreading.
It appears that maybe a second warehouse may be burning as well. What's going on in the back? Has this moved over to a second warehouse?
No, that's it's part of the processing area. So they have totes sitting outside of the warehouse itself. The warehouse is fully involved, and it's the totes are the exposure, and right now that's what's burning.
You say totes? What does that mean?
Yeah, like polyurethane containers, right? Mm-hmm.
Is that what we hear? Are they popping out?
They are popping right now. That's what we hear in the back.
Is that what you meant by those chemical? You said some chemical machineries, or
yeah, what's going?
It's a processing. They have some sort of processing activity going on back there, and so we're not exactly sure what it is exactly that they do as far as manufacturing. We do have hazmat on scene. They are evaluating the chemicals that we know are there based on what we are able to see, and certainly that's something that we're taking into consideration.
Chief, should neighbors be concerned? Are you guys thinking about evacuating any homes nearby or anything like that?
You know what? We're recommending just a shelter in place. We don't recommend anybody just start evacuating. We do have a steady breeze that's dissipating any plume and any byproducts of combustion. But no, at this time, we recommend people just stay indoors, and firefighters are here, until we get this under control.
So just recap: there's a chemical processing plant behind the textile.
Well, they handle chemicals. I'm not sure what kind of processing or manufacturing they do. I'm not exactly sure until we're able to get inside. But we know that they do handle some of those because we can see the containers that are sitting outside the warehouse.
Is it safe to apply water to that?
Yes. So we before we actually apply water or any agent, we're sure that it's compatible with whatever may be burning. So yes, water is our primary source extinguishing agent.
We saw them use foam in a truck over here. Tell us about
Right.
that. Why would you use foam in a situation like
Right.
this?
The foam is essentially, for lack of a better term, it's a wetting agent. It's a surfactant to be able to get into the crevices more easily. And if we can establish a layer of foam on whatever's burning, and that in itself will help with the extinguishment.
You said you've got over 150 firefighters out here, is that right?
Yes, sir. We have about 150 firefighters out here working. We have 35 units. We are going to call additional personnel in because we're going to be out here working for a little bit. There's going to be a lot of decontamination process, and so we're going to be working for a while.
It seems as if the flames were coming through the roof of the back of the warehouse. Had it spread into the warehouse proper itself, or do you know?
Yeah, it seems to have started inside the warehouse, and the exposures on the exterior are now catching fire. Again, you know, getting the right pressure was an issue for us here initially. We've established a water supply, a reliable water supply, but certainly it seems to be that the fire originated inside the warehouse, so that is fully involved. We're giving up a portion of that warehouse, and we're going to try to make a stance up closer to the front and to contain the fire to the areas damaged.
Is there a process that companies have to go through to register with the Houston Fire Department so you know what you're up against when you come to a fire? And did this company go through that process?
Yeah, there's a reporting requirement. There's certainly, and it's not just a Houston requirement. That's state law. That's federal law. Right now, we don't know exactly how compliant they have been. You know, we have no reason to doubt that they weren't.
Would you be able to pull that information up?
Yes, that'll be part of the whole investigation. Yes, sir.
Whether they're complying or not.
Exactly.
Have the owners of these, have they been in touch with you guys?
I haven't seen the owners at this time.
On the totes that are exploding on the outside, right?
They're on the outside.
Is that just the pressure
The
building
pressure,
up inside? There's
exactly.
nothing in them.
No, the totes seem to be empty, but it's pressure buildup.
But it's the chemical equipment inside the building that you said is burning, possibly.
So whatever is inside the building is what is burning right now. Again, we haven't been able to make it inside to where the fire originated, so we don't know exactly what is in there. We do know that they handle certain types of chemicals because the containers are sitting outside.
All right, that was Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena. He is there on the scene of a big, massive warehouse fire in southwest Houston. Just to recap some of the big points that he just mentioned to our Jeff Ealing, 150 firefighters are on scene trying to get this thing under control. They've been using foam on the agent in the warehouse. The good news is there have been no injuries reported, but they are expected to be out there for quite some time. Travis is joining us now to talk about some of the conditions and the wind that the firefighters are facing.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little bit of a northeasterly breeze, which is blowing that smoke plume to the southwest. And based on our tower cam image, I can tell that it does look like they are making some headway on putting this thing out and getting it under control. I want to show you the time-lapse loop over the past hour and a half. And as it kicks into motion here, well, it looks like it doesn't want to load in on me. This is live TV for you. Let's see if, nope, it doesn't want to do it. But basically, we've seen that plume begin to dissipate just a little bit from a distance. Now, the winds are currently calm across most of southeast Texas, but when the wind does stir, it is coming in from the northeast. We're also seeing this on our radar imagery. You look off to the southwest, there's the smoke plume, and we're losing some intensity to that, which is another indication that perhaps they are starting to make some headway on this. This is developing here near the intersection of Alameda Road and Junction Drive. Right here is around the source location of the fire. That's just south of Sims Bayou, just off to the east of Peterson Elementary of HISD, and also just off to the east of Townwood Park. The smoke plume is drifting off to the southwest, crossing the Beltway here, the Sam Houston Parkway, and into these neighborhoods here between Alameda Road and the Card Road. So be aware of that. If you live in that section, you're being encouraged right now to shelter in place. The smoke plume looks to be peaking about 7,000 to 8,000 feet above the ground, and it does look like, again, it's drifting off to the southwest. So here's, again, a live view from our tower cam where we're starting to lose that pyrocumulus cloud, which, again, tells me that they're probably starting to make a little bit of headway. The winds are also playing a role in this as well. As those winds strengthen, you lose that vertical column of rising air going straight up, and as that happens, as we get the winds, it starts to tilt a little bit, and then you don't get get that cloud being generated quite as high into the sky. So that's the view from weather right here and from our location downtown. We'll keep a close eye on things for you here as we continue to monitor things with all of our multiple resources here at ABC 13. It does look like, though, again, from our vantage point, from this tower cam view, that they are beginning to make some headway. The fire is not out by any stretch of the imagination, but it certainly is, we certainly are seeing some signs that things are beginning to improve. Let me try one more time on this tower. It looks like the time lapse there is just not going to work, because I can show you how earlier this was towering up to about right here. And so we've seen that cloud begin to diminish just a little bit from our vantage point, again, from our tower cam, which is off of Memorial Drive. So we'll skip past the time lapse, since that doesn't seem to want to work, and get you back here to the wind conditions, which, again, we are looking at the winds fairly light, but they do stir occasionally from the northeast. Erica?
All right, Travis, thank you so much. Again, that big warehouse fire near Alameda and Alameda Genoa Road. 150 firefighters are on scene battling the blaze. Houston Fire Chief just gave us an update. They don't know what exactly they're dealing with right now as far as the contents and potential contaminants, but they're working on it and are expected to be there potentially all of the day, or at least a good portion of it. The best news so far is that no one has been reported hurt. Again, live pictures, you can check them out at abc13.com.
Yes. Can we flip IFB over?
It's almost no flames could be seen at all, whereas before, even 30, 40 minutes ago, you would see flames shooting up through the roof of this facility. There are at least three different types of businesses, three different businesses here at this fire, a cardboard manufacturer or recycler, a clothing recycler, and then the third business, which is, they believe what is the problem here, is some sort of chemical processing facility. They're not sure if they make chemicals, they're not sure if they recycle chemicals, they're not exactly sure what they do, but they do know that it is that portion of this building that is burning. not the clothing and not the cardboard textile part of it. So as we sit here and watch this, we can tell you that it does look like there is a lot less activity coming from the fire. There is still some burning going on. And again, we had thought that possibly a second warehouse was on fire, but really what's going on is the processing facility for these chemicals extends beyond the back of the first warehouse and to the back of the second warehouse, not in the warehouse itself, but in the back part. And that was on fire as well, not the warehouse itself, but the equipment and the things that would be outside of the warehouse. That is what was burning in the back, but it appeared to be the second warehouse, but again, not that second warehouse. Firefighters, so there are about 150 firefighters here, and they're going to rotate them throughout the day because they are battling heat now. But the main thing, the number one thing that looks like they have gotten this fire from raging to under control now is the foam that they are putting on there. That foam produces a film basically suffocating the fire and getting into all the cracks and crevices, denying the fire of oxygen. That is why they are using it, and it is having a much better opportunity, a much better chance of getting these flames down than when they had just water going on. There was an issue with getting water out here initially, but that's been taken care of. And now firefighters still trying to figure out exactly what's burning. That's kind of a disturbing thing for them since they don't know what's going on in there. They don't know what's burning, but they're going to treat this very conservatively is what they said. That means that they're going to keep the personnel away from the smoke because they just don't know what's going on in there. Fire's been burning since about 6:30 this morning.
Handle on the fire out here. But yes, those huge explosions, I think that's what startled a lot of people. That's what brought people outside of their houses. I want to just show you, if we could swing around to the neighborhood. You can see obviously traffic moving slow out here, but it's people who have come out of their homes to get a look at how big this fire has been. We talked to a couple people just a few minutes ago in that house. A woman in that driveway said she was shaken, frankly. She didn't know what was going on. She could see the smoke all the way from Hobby Airport. She hauled over here to this neighborhood and just listened to these huge explosions. I want to see if we could talk to some of these people who are still out here right now, just watching this. Ma'am, can I just ask you a couple questions? Do you live around here in this neighborhood?
Yeah, we live right up the street.
Okay, and tell me, do you just come out here to see what this whole thing
Well,
is
the
about?
house is shaking. So we were trying to figure out why was the house shaking. You could, with each boom, the house would shake. And we didn't know that anything was on fire. We just woke up and it's just, the house is rattling.
That's how big those booms were, giving people an idea at home.
Yeah, we had no clue what was going on. First we thought, well, maybe somebody's preparing for Memorial Day. Maybe something is just firecrackers or something popping, but not hard enough to shake the whole house.
Gosh, that's crazy. How many booms, how many times was your house shaken?
At least a dozen. We didn't know what was going on. We just saw people walking and driving, and then the helicopters, and it's like, okay, something serious is happening.
So you came out here, you see this huge plume of smoke, and what did you think?
That plant is on fire.
Yeah.
And it's got to be something. Should we be breathing in this? Do I really want to come see what's going on? But I needed to see if it's something that we need to leave.
Right. And you feel safe. How are you feeling right now? I mean, it looks like it's under control at this point. We still don't, have any update because we've been over here talking to neighbors.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to go back in the house and just wait and see if I see anything else online. Is any advisory that we need to get out of the area? But for right now, I mean, it seems like the smoke is pushing that way, and I don't hear anything else other than the helicopter, so I'm assuming that they've got it okay.
Yeah, we haven't heard any explosions out here in the last, I'd say, 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So.
From the walk down here, we only heard one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you for talking with us and painting a picture for everybody at home, because I know people are wondering about this. So, yeah, this is the scene out here. Again, we are east of this fire right now. Erica, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Courtney, thank you. Valid questions and concerns from that homeowner. Let's get you back out to Jeff Ealing, who is closer to the fire. Jeff, what's going on? We're hearing about some kind of shelter in place.
Yeah, Erica, the firefighter, Sam Pena, just a few moments ago when we were speaking with him, we asked what should residents do, and he said the best advice would be to shelter in place. Now, I got to tell you, that was when this thing was blowing and going. It seems like it is almost under control from our vantage point right now. But shelter in place was what they were telling neighbors around this facility. And, yeah, I know where Courtney is, where she's standing on the back side of where this warehouse is. It's those neighborhoods are fairly close to this. But, again, the smoke has been going up. Firefighters said shelter in place was the only thing that they were telling people not to evacuate or anything like that. One of the things I can tell you that the big change in this fire over the last 30 minutes is thanks to foam being applied directly to the flames themselves. That's a change. When the water was being applied, it didn't seem like it was just enough. It wasn't going to be enough to get this fire under control. But now they've got an HFD truck with dedicated water lines going to that truck, and they're putting foam on this fire. What that foam does, according to firefighters, is it produces a film that coats everything back there, and that film then deprives the fire of any oxygen. That foam able to get into tiny little crevices and cracks and able to go ahead and start getting that fire under control. And this is a huge improvement once they started putting that foam over there. We've been out here about 2 hours or so, and I can tell you, it almost seems at this point that this fire is completely out. Now, let me tell you a little bit, Erica, about what firefighters said is going on inside this facility. We've been telling you all morning long that the sign out front says textile recycler, and it talks about recycling clothes and shoes and that sort of stuff. But apparently there are several different businesses operating inside this warehouse complex. There are 3 warehouses here. Firefighters describe the interior as a maze, very difficult to get around. So they know that there is this textile recycler. That is not the cause of this fire. They also know that there is some sort of cardboard, either manufacturer or recycler. That is not what's going on back here with this fire. What they say is there was a 3rd business associated with this property. It is some sort of chemical processor. They don't know if it's recycling chemicals. They don't know if it's distributing chemicals. But whatever is going on with that chemical processor, that is what is the concern with this fire. We can also tell you that the main warehouse appears, the warehouse on the north side of the property, where we've been concentrating all of our video, the flames that you've been seeing coming out of the warehouse, that is where it started, and it appears to have started in the back of that warehouse. And the fire, fortunately, has not moved to a second nearby warehouse. Instead, what is burning behind that second warehouse is part of this chemical processing facility out here. Now, we asked firefighters about, the reporting requirements that companies have to have, so firefighters will know what they're up against when they come into these things. And at this point, they just don't know what's burning back there, so they don't know if, in fact, this chemical processing facility is in compliance with that reporting. They're just not sure because they still don't know what's on fire. And because of that, Erica, firefighters are treating this fire very conservatively, which means that they are not getting right up to the flames with any kind of water or anything like that. Instead, they're shooting these foam dozens of yards, maybe probably 50 yards across from where the truck is onto the fire itself. And we do know that there are firefighters inside the warehouse that was burning. And what firefighters are telling us they're doing is they're establishing what they're calling a fire wall, essentially cutting that building in half, being able to save the front half of the building while letting the firefighters on the outside take care of the smoke and flames from the outside of the back half of that warehouse. So that's what's happening right now. And as you mentioned, Erica, right at the top, 150 firefighters out here right now. We'll probably be cycling through even more of those firefighters as those firefighters start to deal with heat and stress related issues. But the main goal right now is to get this thing under control. And as we sit here and just look at the smoke cloud that is being produced by this fire, it is greatly diminished. And again, like I said, it almost seems as if this fire may be completely under control. It's not quite there yet because there is still some black smoke coming from the back of this warehouse, but it is much less than it was even 30 minutes ago, Erica.
That's good news, Jeff. And just looking at some of the images there reminds me of the big warehouse fire east of downtown just a couple of weeks ago, kind of near the 2nd Ward neighborhood. And you mentioned that Fire Chief Pena suggested that people just stay inside. I'm curious, have you seen anybody out there at all who's tried to, cover their face or not breathe in potential toxins?
No. Erica, the flames, the smoke's going up so high in the air that it's not leading to any kind of thing like that. On this side of Alameda, where we are in the front of this building, there are no homes directly across it. It's just mostly an industrial area. A little bit further down, there are some houses, but I haven't seen any of those folks come out just kind of like look around and see what's going on. I think they've sort of taken the advice of sheltering in place, and there's nobody popping out to even look to see what's happening. I think they're maybe content to watch us on TV to kind of show us the pictures. Now, over where Courtney was, and she was talking to residents. Those folks are outside. They are taking a look. I don't know if they're covering themselves up, but firefighters again saying shelter in place. I'm not sure that that's a precaution that needs to take place. However, if this smoke starts to hover onto the ground, you certainly wouldn't want to come into contact with it until firefighters can tell us what it is that's on fire.
But even as we speak, it definitely looks like some of that smoke is dissipating. So that's the good news. That means that crews are getting a handle on it.
Yeah, I can absolutely see. So just to give you an idea, the HPD is flying its helicopter around the smoke cloud, if you will, to get a better look at what's going on back there. There was a time when the HPD helicopter went behind the smoke cloud. I couldn't see it anymore. It was totally obscured. Not the case anymore. I could follow the path of that helicopter through this now light brown smoke that's coming from this warehouse. So, yeah, I do believe, just from our vantage point, I do think that this thing is going to be under control here pretty quickly. But then, of course, you have to deal, as firefighters were telling us, with sort of the after effects of this, any kind of runoff, any kind of chemicals that have been burning that they just don't know what it was. So they don't want to get too close to it. But boy, it does look like they really, once that foam truck started applying foam directly to these flames, the situation got under control very, very quickly. In fact, there were some barrels that we had heard popping throughout the morning. They're mostly empty from what firefighters have told us. And what was happening is the barrels were getting pressurized because of the heat and then popping. That has completely stopped, which would lead me to believe that whatever was the fire source was close to those barrels is now extinguished, or certainly under control enough to not be able to produce enough of a reaction to get those barrels to pop anymore. But again, those barrels were empty, and that's what those barrels were, according to a lady who works in the office furniture supply warehouse next door to this fire. She said that those barrels that we can see in here in the front actually extend around the back of the building, and those were popping as well and were on fire as well, Erica.
Got it. Great work out there. And I know Chief Pena mentioned potentially calling in more crews, but may not have to do that after all, depending on how things are going. It looks like it's going well.
It does. It does. It looks like it's going pretty good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we'll check back with you in just a moment. But from your vantage point, it looks like things are getting more and more under control. And just to kind of recap what Jeff was saying, potentially 150 fire personnel were called out to that 4-alarm fire at the warehouse at Alameda Road at Alameda, Genoa. So as you can see there on your screen, the smoke is dissipating and the clouds are becoming lighter and more clear, meaning that crews are getting a hold on it. You, of course, can continue to have all the updated information and watch these pictures live as it's happening on abc13.com.